Let's go down to Cameron Lee.
Well, thanks, Dennis. What a game of footy in this first quarter. 15 goals and a heap of attacking play and just amazing skills from both teams. There's no wonder these two teams are both such quality teams and right up the pointy end of the ladder. At the Geelong huddle just behind me, Paul Chapman was getting a lot of work on his hamstring from the physios and spent a bit of time speaking with Chris Scott and also the fitness staff. So they're going to obviously monitor that throughout this quarter. But if he was forced to be subbed off the ground with potentially a hammy injury, it would play a huge part in this game because it would drop one of Geelong's rotations to the middle and forward part of the ground. It would obviously make them use the sub a lot earlier than what they would plan to.
So what's the first job here of the coaches? Is it to stop the opposition from scoring or keep scoring yourself, do you reckon?
I think both coaches and both clubs have a defensive mindset at the heart of their game. Therefore, I don't think they'd want to play in a shootout where it's 120 points each at the end of the game.
But I think I don't see that they're going to really alter the positioning look that they've gone with that quarter. But clearly, I mean, that both coaches were saying we've got to tackle more. I mean, we've got to lay the tackle, hold the tackle, make sure when the opposition in the ball, they just can't break into space, because that's what happened that quarter. We still had, when there's a stoppage, everyone's in the same half of the field, but the ball wasn't staying in the congestion because both sides were just running freely into space.
Well, one of the interesting stats is you look at the marks, it's 14 to the Swans, 12 to Geelong. Typically when a side gets a run and there's a lot of uncontested marks, I mean, this ball's just absolutely flinging down.
It's running and ball carrying, isn't it?
It is, yes, so it's players in space. So I think the work at the coalface at the stoppage and both sides watching the release players out the back is what both John Longmire and Chris Scott will be looking at.
So 5 points the margin. Sparkling opening term. Not only a lot of goals, but a lot of very good goals kicked.
As we look at it, looks like Geelong have actually decided to drop the spare man back, and the Swans have put the forward, so there's 7 forwards for the Swans.
Ah, that's interesting, isn't it? Jack out of the middle, sends it down towards half forward, coming up and plucking it. The hands waiting for the football right there. Roberts-Thompson will shoot from about 55. In fact, Rivers taken back a couple of paces on the mark, but
15 gone.
Roberts-Thompson could go close. Powerful kick normally. This will test him though. What a fine player he's been. Gives this one a ride. Hasn't got the carry. It hit the post just above the fat bit.
Just thinking about the wind, and still not sure whether there is a favoured end, because that covered a fair bit of territory. We thought it might be favouring that end early in the opening term. Good mark, Podsiadly. So, right up the ground. That ball getting to centre wing right in front of our commentary position. We're on the 7th floor here. Get a great view. Selwood down low. Lovely looking kick to Taylor Hunt. The other Hunt, of course, hasn't played so far this year, so Hunt squares to Harry Taylor. And then he pops it up to full forward. Duncan front spot, had a good go at it. Does he hold it? No. McVeigh, Malcheski wanting to hug the line. And Bolton, who was so good in the boundary throw-in. Just Josh letting me know that at the Lake Oval in 1978, Geelong were 9 goals to South Melbourne 8 and went on to win by 12 points. It was 167 to 155 that day. It's a long time ago, I know, but don't think we'll quite get that tonight.
Doesn't he love it, though, when something unusual happens? Suddenly, he's like Albus Dumbledore. Thought of the wing, the short one comes in from Hunt. It had been touched, apparently. Podsiadly heard it and played on. Kicks down towards the pocket. Coming up defiantly. The mark is held by Richards. Teddy Richards, All-Australian last season. Former Bomber, of course. All the glory for him has come with these Sydney Swans. To the outer side, strong mark. Roberts-Thompson backing back into a pack. He knows no other way. Defensive side of the wing. Late arriving crowd, but it's really picked up in the last 15 minutes or so. Well, a series of marks for the Swans. Reid. Now, the man on the mark is about 60 metres out. Up ahead, Goods and Rivers. And he puts it in that direction. In from the side, almost Mumford. Rivers had it, lost it. Follows up, coughs it up again. Well done by Bolton. Slapped it out of the congestion. Bartell to West. Motlop, quick hands away. Joel Corey just lobs it gently into the path of Christensen. Christensen goes long inside the forward 50. Going back with the flight of it down there was Duncan, stolen away though by Rampy.
Played that well, didn't he?
Oh, well, sort of.
Except the kick.
He did position it really well.
But he played the defensive positioning well.
No, he kept his eye on the ball and kept a good watch of Duncan at the same time, didn't he?
Mark's over here.
So Billy Smets has to do it again. Yeah, he was impressive there, Rampy. I know the kick didn't turn out too well, but just his awareness.
Yeah, didn't panic. He knew trying to protect the boundary.
His mass numbers now in the forward 50 for the Cats and all on this side. So he's going to have to be patient with his ball use or just kick it long to a really high outnumbered contest.
And he's sort of done that, Tom, to about 30 metres out. Swans had all the flyers. And Pike has just been amazing, actually, his last 12 months of footy. He's such an accomplished player at the moment. That kick down the line, McKeith, Reid, well done. McGlynn was good in that opening turn. 1-2. He's got Jack running, and now Jack off. He'll scuttle off quickly and squares it brilliantly to LRT.
Good vision. Good skills, good vision. Gee, they're exploding out of the congestion, these Swans. I mean, that's the thing they're doing slightly better. The Geelong have gone forward out of the centre bounce and scored, but just out of the back half, when the ball leaves the congestion, the Swans midfielders just explode into space.
Gee, Reid was good. I reckon McGlynn's been the one that's cut the lines a couple of times tonight. When in that first term early, he cut the lines, and again there. Well, Roberts Thompson, we know he went forward a lot last year and kicked some very important goals. He started forward tonight. He's hit the post in this quarter and he's kicked a goal. And the Swans just get a little bit of a break now. He's such an adaptable player, LRT. I mean, he was, 3 years ago? He was nothing like he is now. I mean, this push forward, defensive forward has become so popular in the game, but he does it as well as anyone, I think.
Yeah, very flexible player. If they need another tall defender, he can go down the other end. He fills an important role.
Good competitor, isn't he? Really solid stuff.
So the largest lead of the night. You can see the Sydney Swans have booted the last three. You can see those back-to-back goals earlier that broke it open initially for Geelong, but they've come right back, Sydney. Knocked down by Pike to the back of the pack. Well done. Away comes Jack. Hammers another one inside the forward 50 off hands. Leading back is Rivers. Arriving quickly though on the angle is Reid. Tries to find support. Nothing there. Gave it across towards Mackey, but he was ushered across the line. So a throw in. Biggest lead of the game now. Sydney's way. 56-44. Nothing in this free scoring affair, of course. Joel Corey taken down. He was looking for someone to fall on his back there. O'Keefe has got it. No way out. And the umpire will ball it up.
It's worked well for them since quarter time when Lee, you touched on it. Sydney going with basically a 7-man forward line, not allowing a free man for Geelong in the background. You see Paul Chapman obviously with some lower leg problems at the moment.
Blitzarves won it down. Shark though by Jack. Hooks it back towards a vacant goal square. It runs on, but just wide of the mark.
Yeah, it was Chris Scott who decided he wanted to alter the balance of the positioning, didn't he? But the Swans have made sure they can't have the spare even if that's congested.
So Bartel's kick to a contest. Richards gets it from Bolton. Matner. And a little kick by Matner's okay. And gets to Rampy. It's a good move. He played one match earlier this season, so back in the team tonight. And that high ball to centre half forward. Good contest in the front by Pike, and again Pike getting down low with Parker and Mumford, so the big guys are there for the Swans. And Selwood putting on a tackle and the ball up. He'll try and impose himself here, Selwood, you reckon, don't you? These are the situations he tries to have an influence.
Not shy about having their big guys work together. Pike got it down to McVeigh, tackled front on by guess who? Joel Selwood trying to find a way out, and he was tackled high, and the umpire got him off the hook there. Admirable the way he was trying to get out, but wasn't having a lot of success. An arm going over the shoulder, and just as well for the Cats as he boots it up towards the wing. Hall Smith crumbs it nicely. Drops it on the boot and kicks towards half forward. Grundy reaching over the top. Malcheski. So good building from half back to Jetta. Jetta slips it across to Goods. Rambles through midfield. Long kick. Beautiful kick. Gave O'Keefe every chance. It was kicked to his advantage. Oh, well done by Harry Taylor. he hustled back and knocked it out of bounds.
It's the O'Keefe of old there. He started as a half forward. He spent a lot of time deep in the forward 50, and Swans trying to expose Joel Selwood on the last line of defence.
So Mumford gets the tap. Christensen forward. And then Enright, well played to Rivers. And Rivers' ball into the centre. McGlynn's been so certain with the ball. He runs right into Hawkins, who takes him down. And what happens here? The ball's still into spitball up. Gee, it's like running into a rhinoceros, I reckon, or something similar.
I think the umpire was shocked by what he just saw. Little bloke just running straight at the big fella.
And Duncan gets a quick kick away, slams it on the boot, but Richards takes the mark. I feel like the Cats need the next goal. I just feel like Sydney are putting the clamps on them a bit at the moment. Matner to Armstrong.
With space up ahead for Armstrong. And he picks his target, McVeigh, his first blemish of the night. Armstrong runs to help, takes the footy, things open up for him. Could have had a bounce there, oh, that's not what he needed to do. Kicked it straight to Duncan, feeds it back to Stokes. Stokes, the short one, shows a lot of it to Rampy. Over the top, Bartel bounces off a would-be tackler. They're still under pressure here. Lonigan swarming at them, the Swans. Hanbury tries to lay it into the path of Kennedy. Coming across was Enright. Hand passes out wide. Well, Blitzarves, agile for a big man, had it. Then he lost it. Hanbury's over the football. Blitzarves thought he had it. Opportunity now for Malcheski, looking for a free kick. Could be pinged for holding the ball. No, the umpire says that's okay. But his first mission there was to try and get a free kick and hope someone fell on his back on the way to getting it.
So, front spot Mumford. Well done, Christensen. He's been so good to Stokes. Handball, Selwood under pressure. Gee, was slammed down by McGlynn. Handball away by Christensen. Gee, Rampy's been impressive, hasn't he? Likes the one-on-ones. Neat-looking kick. Does he get enough on it? LRT, brilliant to Hanbury. Stopped and propped and nobody tackled him. Hooks it back. It was touched off the boot. Last line of defence. Rivers on the up and then Podsiadly back to Selwood. So Selwood's positioned himself on that back half on O'Keefe for the while. Just trying to stem the flow in Mackie. Some good stuff here. So Mackie cool to go. Careful kick out wide. Finds Podsiadly.
Told to play on. Takes his time. Lobs it down towards half forward. Ball hangs a long time in the air west. Attempting a juggled mark. Matner working low down. Heard a voice. Get across to Richards. Well played by the Swans. What a beautiful kick coming out. And McGlynn's got it forward to the wing. Looks inside the forward 50. Hanbury's the target. Hanbury's got it. Gee, that was good hard running. Hanbury started on this side of the ground. He took off. He demanded something of McGlynn. And McGlynn, who sadly missed the grand final last year, delivered.
Good tackle, wasn't it? I think he might have just come off interchange, Hanbury. He just appeared in front of the interchange bench anyway, but it was a hard run into space.
Both McGlynn and Joel Selwood Bendigo boys. McGlynn would have enjoyed that one, just giving it to his Bendigo mate.
Hanbury comes in and kicks truly. And now the Cats have got a few problems. Up by 19. They worked it well off that outer side. Chain of hand passes and then a really telling kick. McGlynn decided to really test the defence. Kicked it to the advantage of Hanbury, and Hanbury able to finish with a goal.
Well, there have been some influential Swans midfielders, McVeigh, Hanbury in the type, but Ted Richards is playing as important a role as anyone at the moment. He's had the 10 touches and most importantly kept Tom Hawkins goalless.
And Tom, no score for Geelong, no scores for 20 minutes. And in that time, Sydney have kicked 4-3. So they've had a period of domination. Corey got it from Selwood. Blitzarve front spot with Mark Grundy. They were the twin peaks a bit last year, Grundy and Richards, weren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they got the space now with a 5-on-5, the Geelong forwards, but the Swans defenders still look in control.
Malcheski to Jack and then Jack to centre wing. LRT did so well there. He got to the front. Corey slashing handball to his old mate Chappie. And see how Chappie's moving. He might get a second crack here. Gets the ball to Christensen. Good tackle Armstrong. But Christensen was good enough to ride the tackle. Grundy again for the second time in a minute. Takes a beauty.
7-zip contested marks for the Swans at the moment, clearly dominating the air.
Swans up by 19 points. Malcheski out of the back pocket. Deliberately, O'Keefe. Malcheski again. Not a good kick, that one. Bounces to Joel Corey. Slips a hand pass away to Christensen. Christensen goes in short to Duncan. And a little overconfidence by the Swans coming out that time. Untidy kick by Malcheski.
That's your line.
John Longmire not amused.
And that kick up. Mitch. Come on, thank you.
So Duncan, with the man on the mark about 35 metres out, will certainly get the distance here. The side needing a goal. 63 plays 44. Just under 10 minutes till half time. It's out to the left. Never online. So after all those goals, one mattering a lot there, missed and should have been kicked.
So Swans off the hook. The Malcheski short kick not punished. Mumford and Bartel, and a boundary throw in. Interesting, John Longmire quite happy to play Mumford and Pike for long periods together, isn't he?
Yeah, both on the ground for a lot of the game together.
Blitz halves and West also playing a lot of minute time, so the four big men all playing pretty crucial parts.
So Pike just laid it down, wanted O'Keefe. O'Keefe, well, written down, and that ball still coming out. Selwood trying to get a clearance. He's done well here, Selwood. Got the high tackle. He's imposed himself in the last few minutes. Wobbly kick. Grundy's been so good, and he fends off free kick against him. That was, yep. It was pretty obvious, wasn't it?
I'll say.
Just a bit high. He's trying to fend him off. On the don't argue on the chest, but the high contact always going to be a free.
So there's a fair way out to do the Stevie J sidestep here. Kick two, Motlop. Does he get enough on it? It looks pretty good. He's got it. So 3 for Motlop, and the Cats get an important one. So Motlop, you give him a glue one. Probably, he must have been at the club when you were there, Tom. Yep. Certainly when Lingy was there. It took a long time to get going. I don't think he played a game in the first year, one game the next year. But suddenly he's an integral part of the team, isn't he?
He was just underdeveloped, Bruce. He had came with 2 shoulder reconstructions, and I actually spent a lot of time in injury rehab with him. What he did have was a fantastic work ethic and really strode hard in his runs, getting dividends. Can't argue about that one, I wouldn't have thought. This is the taller man with the unfortunate fend-off, but certainly a free kick.
Stephen Motlop, 3 straight tonight. Started the night, having kicked 4-7 in the previous 3 games. Mumford knocks it down. Chapman at close quarters tries to improvise, kicks it straight up in the air. Blitzarves, well, how's that for company? We'll have a ball up. He's agile, though. He's a project, Blitzarves, but he's going to be good. Just watching him, he's getting better. Learning where to go. Showing some nous. Holland Smith hooks one inside the forward 50. Podsiadly was up. Motlop again. Can he get out? Left the ball behind. Oh, well done by Grundy. Just gave it across towards Jack. Not his best effort with a kick. Falls short of the wing. Plenty of Geelong players out there. Enright to Corey. In trouble Stokes. Back to Corey Enright. Comes across to Stokes. Kicks it straight up in the air. Johnson camped underneath it. Then fell over. Over the top Jack, who fell over Johnson. And we've got a whistle, I think, and the umpire will move in to ball it up. The old school trick. Johnson was behind him and Jack stumbled over him. So down towards left half forward. Margin 12 points. Sydney being challenged now. Kennedy on his knees. Did well to Hanbury. Wheels out of the pack. A hot hand pass. Jack couldn't control it. Over the top goes Johnson. Jack tries to feed it to Hanbury. Quick kick away.
And Goods will get a free kick against Mackie. So Sydney, as Dennis said, suddenly on the back foot here. They were completely in control a couple of minutes ago after a spectacular opening term. So Goods with a couple of goals in the first quarter to Hanbury. Now they're going to come out the far side here. Malcheski, and they're on. Jetta's on here. We haven't seen a big burst from him so far tonight. Not much so far this year in terms of the run and carry. He decides off a step to kick down the line. Bolton in very, very hard. Rivers showed a lot of guts there. LRT back to O'Keefe. Bolton has to wait for it. Slams it on the boot. Ball in dispute. Well done by Joel Corey to Taylor Hunt. Gets it to Andrew Mackie, and then Mackie off for step. It was a good-looking kick. He gave his man a chance, but Hanbury was too strong for Stokes. Gee, Hanbury's... Well, he's not emerging. I think he's arrived, Hanbury.
That was great. You've got to stay on your feet. And Hanbury was the man who appeared to be off balance as they made contact, but he stayed upright, and the other guy went to the deck. Here's Holland Smith. Taylor's got 2 goals. Back in defence now. Chips to a 2-on-1, but the one prevails. Duncan hit the ground running, looks up, kicks it down towards full forward, lunging forward. The mark is taken by Selwood.
Gee, that's a good contested mark, isn't it?
Hanbury's hurt.
And just an outstanding kick by Joel Selwood as Hanbury. He's a tough nut. You'd imagine he'll get to his feet, but just a great kick by Mitch Duncan into Joel Selwood there. He saw where he was positioned on his opponent. Just put the ball in nice and low so Joel Selwood could move into the ball, take the mark, and a great contested grab.
So this to bring it back to just 6 points. Selwood's kick hits the post 2/3 of the way up.
LRT and a bit of strife, it looks like, for the Swans as well.
So another courageous act by Hanbury. So miss for Selwood. A couple of posters in this term, one from LRT. So the Cats get it back to under 2 goals. Holland Smith's been impressive. Been a lot of good players out there tonight. It's been that sort of game, particularly the first quarter. Bartel held up.
It's good at it. It's fine.
So that's Roberts Thompson. So just the right knee.
Ruckman, thank you.
Will lay down McVeigh. Stokes worries him out. Gee, Holland Smith continue to impress. Corey Jack, boundary throwing. Hanbury just getting his wind back. Grundy running into him for that marking contest a moment ago. Blitzarves, Mumford, Selwood's been so good in this quarter. Bolton, Corey, Parker, Chapman. Kennedy couldn't quite read. Chappie got back, played it well. Chapman, good smother from Bolton. Lewis Jetta in the back, no free kick against Chapman. And then in hard on Lonergan was Bolton. It's a bit of bash and crash. Parker got involved. Back to Bartel. Back to Mackie.
Slips it across now, and Taylor Hunt decides to take them on and does so to good effect. Blistering pace, kicks it long. Despairing lunge there by Richards, got his fingertips to it. Still a live ball in the pocket. Johnson appeared to be taken high, no free kick. Smith's in trouble. He was taken down by Christensen. Comes across to Richards. Richards clears the zone in desperation. Kicks it outside the 50, but it's coming back. Taylor goes short. Motlop's got it. Action everywhere. He tries to kick it back to the square. Touched off the boot. Smets went to ground, came back to Smets. Opportunity wide of the pack for good. Spills to Blitzarves. Hand passes to Taylor Hunt. Goes outside the 50. Harry's got it. Bangs it back in. Datterwood's full forward. Mumford goes up, and he takes the mark.
So there were some great games and shit off the ball there with Steve Johnson and Marty Mattner. Marty Mattner, the ever-experienced defender, just keeping Steve Johnson down on the ground and out of the contest. Mumford ends up taking the mark.
Great passage of play. Mumford's kick to centre wing. Goods. He's looked sharp tonight, Goods. One bounce. Got himself into a bit of a spot, and then he just had to poke the ball forward. So not a great result. There was no one really to get to. Rivers, short to Enright. So Geelong building before half-time. The switch to Mackie. Can he move it on? He switches it out wide to Bartel. Bartel. Kick to half forward. Asked a bit of Chapman. Blitzarves held up by McVeigh. Chappie. Still with Chapman, Smets. Well done, Parker. Did it so brilliantly. Kicks the ball not so well and cut off there by Stokes.
Gee, the last 5 minutes of footy has been more like what we expected between a Sydney and Geelong game. A lot of hard contests. There's Stevie and Marty Mattner having a little bit of fun off the ball, but a lot of scrapping, a lot of fumbles, a lot of really high-intensity footy. It's great to watch this last 5 minutes.
I think Steve's got a point. He wants to get up. There goes Stokes. Very short to Mackie. Mackie just forward of the wing. Spears one down. Watch Podsy Adley, third man in the queue, but he hung on. Now he's a natural left footer, so the angle will open up for him here.
50 metres.
Oh, and 50 metres against McGlynn. So Podsy Adley goes to the goal square virtually unchecked, although a man comes across now. That's Grundy to stand the mark. Podsy Adley pops it through, and this is gutsy stuff by the Cats. They're coming back. They're really coming back. Oh.
It's interesting stuff, and Stevie's always interesting. But McGlynn had a crack at Teddy Richards, and Richards has got a crack back at him, and I'm not sure whether the umpire misinterpreted that McGlynn was having a crack at him, to be honest, because that
might have got a 50-metre penalty for abusing your teammate.
Well,
yeah,
not sure, but in the end, Geelong have done really well here, Lee, haven't they?
They certainly have. I mean, basically, this has just been such a free. There's only been about a dozen stoppages in this second quarter, so the ball just is in motion the whole time.
So McGlynn here, I think they're having a blue with his teammate and Richards, and anyway, not sure whether the umpire thought it might have been at him. Anyway, 50 metres, Pozzielli gets it. So the 19-point big margin is back to 5, and the Cats might be in front at half-time. Chappie gets a spiral. Richards, Hawkins, free kick against Hawkins.
Boys, just really quickly, LRT is done for the night. That knee that you saw earlier is obviously pretty bad. He's taken his seat, and Mitch Morton, the man, is subbed onto the ground. They're one of the heroes from the grand final for the Swans, but LRT, unfortunately, not good news.
No, that is a blow for them, because Morton made his debut for the Swans late last year, round 21, and then played 5 of the next 6 and played well in the finals. Taylor at the back. Well done by Munford. That was clever. Strong tackle coming on that one from Mackie. And then Munford with strength. McGlynn. O'Keefe to Parker.
Parker surrounded by Geelong Cats. Kicks inside the forward 50 nevertheless. And Harry takes a lovely mark against quality opposition. Reaching over the top of Goods there. 63 to 58. And Lewis Roberts-Thompson appeared when he was on the ground there being checked out by the physio or the doctor that he feared the worst. There's Johnson going down to his left half forward. Not his usual high standard. Mantner comes up, takes the mark. Grundy on the outer side. Just over a minute and a half remaining. Armstrong. Malcheski looks up. Goes looking for Goods, knocked away by Selwood, but Goods was taken high and will get the free kick. Spoyle was effective, but he went through, it seemed, the back of the head there, rushing it on his way to the footy. So Goods, just over a minute till half-time, and I'm sure he senses the gravity of the situation because they've developed a nice lead, Sydney. You could almost see to a man Geelong gritting their teeth and coming back, and they've dominated the last 15 minutes or so, and Goods doesn't get that late goal. Off hands about 2 metres out. West decides to chance his arm, puts it in a dangerous situation. Kick back from Parker is wide of the mark, and it bounces close to the boundary line. Enright will come away.
Short kick is a good one to Johnson. Johnson's handball to Duncan. Little dangerous. Chapman back inside Bartel. Johnson, they're great names, aren't they? Back to Mackie. All of those guys have played in 3 premierships. Out wide. Finding Rivers. He hasn't. And then Rivers down the line to Smets. But he must be enjoying this at the moment. So what a great half of footy we've seen so far. Sydney by 5 points. LRT done for the night. Mackie protected the footy well. The Cats seemingly the only team that could score now before half-time. Paul Smith's been impressive. He won't be going on the Ashes tour, but he's playing well. And then measures the kick to half-forward, almost at the back. It was Duncan and Hawkins, and the siren sound. So terrific opening half, it really was. 15-goal first quarter, slowed up a bit in the second. It was all Sydney early and then coming back very strongly for Geelong. Let's go down to Cameron Ling.
Well, Bolts, almost unbelievably, that first quarter, it was just up and down the ground and flying around. That wasn't expected, was it?
Yeah, it was a frantic pace. I think Geelong really make you play that up-tempo game, so we just need to get control of the footy and get our hands on it and steady it up a little bit.
And it looked like a really high-intensity, just hard slog there in that second quarter, almost completely different to the first quarter. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was a frantic pace. So then we just managed to steady it up a little bit. All the guys were a little bit out on their feet a little bit there, so no, we just got to make sure we get control of the game after this.
LRT all right?
Yeah, he'll be right.
Thanks, Fun.
All right, there we go from the SCG. It's half-time. And it is the Sydney Swans leading by 4 points. They led by 5 points at quarter time. A fantastic game of football. And I must say, they got out to a 19-point lead at the 11-minute mark of that second quarter. And it looked like the Swans were about to pull away. And one, Mark McClure, said, hang tight. Geelong will win the quarter. At which time, donuts were thrown at his head by the crew.
And I ate them all.
And he got them all. Not one tooth mark in them. And you were correct, mate. They won by a point.
Well, what else do you have to say? That's it. Actually, they were held together by the Elder Brigade. You know, the Bartells, Selwoods were fantastic. Chapman was there as well. Harry Taylor was sensational down back. And they actually they zoned him out, and all of a sudden they had to move him forward again. And he got back into the game. I thought it was a terrific quarter of footy because it was dominated by one side early in the game where they just kept bashing it forward and kept pushing it forward, won all the clearances in that area in the first 10 minutes. And then the second 10 minutes, it turned around, went the other way.
Let's have a look at the recap of what was an amazing half of football. Open up with, there's the members, and here comes Geelong. I hope they brought the medallions, otherwise you couldn't get through. Start of the game, Sam Reid kicked the first one, an absolute beauty. And then Hall and Smith with a quick reply, and you can see there, only a minute gone in the game. In fact, there were 4 goals in the first 3 minutes and 49 seconds of the game. Let's go through them. Then it goes Motlop, McVeigh, Melcheski, Chapman, Goods, Taylor again, Bolton, Motlop, Goods, Stokes, McVeigh, and finally Bolton. And there you go, for the 15th time in league history, both teams kicked 7 goals in the opening quarter. Hanbury, who was fantastic, did beautifully right throughout the first half, kicked the first goal. 19-point lead and the Swans are away. Then Motlop kicked his third. Yep, he deserves to give it a bit of a finger wiggle there. He was sensational. And then just before the end of the half, Podsiadly gets a 50-metre penalty, kicks the goal from point-blank range, and believe it or not, after looking just about cooked, the Cats got up to win the quarter by a point as tipped by Mark McClure at the 11-minute mark of the second term.
It could be a lie. No one actually heard it except you.
Exactly. But I heard it. And I wouldn't be pumping up a Carlton man if I didn't hear it with my own ears. 10-3-63, Geelong 9-4-58. We said at the start of the game, my tip was it would be a classic encounter. Well, we're halfway to one of the games of all time at the moment. It has got everything, this match.
It has. It's got everything, isn't it? All the coaches always talk about and players always talk about how important defence is these days, but at the moment there's more goals getting kicked in scores, more higher scores getting kicked than for a long, long time.
Did you ever listen to your coach?
No, not at all.
I didn't either. Didn't worry about it. So why would you listen to him now?
What are they now? 63 points, Sydney. I mean, not so long ago, 63 points for full-time scores. They'd be going, yeah, we did really well.
2 weeks' work, then.
2 weeks' work. The one thing is, Hanbury's been very good. 18 possessions. Yeah. He copped a big friendly fire hip to the rib area. You wonder how he's going to come back. And the other one was LRT came off the ground. He's cooked for the night. What he did, they pushed up in the forward line, LRT, Goods, Mumford and Reid. 4 big blokes up forward, forcing Geelong to move Harry Taylor into the back line. So structurally, now that LRT's gone off, Harry can go forward and try and create a mismatch again.
And of course, Taylor kicked 2 goals in a row at the 20-minute mark, 22-minute mark of the first term to give the Cats an 8-point lead, which is their best lead of the game so far. Let's have a look at some of the other highlights. In particular, let's have a look at the Cats' ball movement here, Roo.
Yep.
And let's go.
Well, they're just brilliant, aren't they? They're not frightened at all to bring the ball back through the middle when they have to. The confidence of some of their senior players is unbelievable, and you know, they just go from coast to coast and quite often don't give the opposition a sniff at all. Stevie J, some of his kicks back in the middle have been sensational tonight, and that's the reason why they're such a good side. They don't give the opposition a chance most of the time.
I reckon they're fantastic when they move the ball through the middle of the ground short. Right, here's a pinpoint pass, handball again. Now you watch the next one come past here, very short. Low flat pass into the forward line. When they move the ball and they identify the take, this is a great passage of play. Another one coming over the top here and a little chip here, going forward. Straight on a sidestep goal. They're great when they run through the middle of the field like that.
Years ago, you'd get told off for smacking the ball with a handball forward, long and high in the air, but they're not frightened to do it all, and they know they got runners there. They obviously train with it, and they train under pressure as well. To do the skills of one step like they do, you have to do that continually at training.
Exciting. That's all I'll say. It's just an exciting game of footy and better than those dour struggles that we see.
Used to see all the time at the SCG, don't anymore. Have a look at the Sydney small forwards. Boys, take us through this term. Just they're nippy, and McVeigh, really kicking. That's a beautiful goal, that one.
Well, McVeigh comes out of the middle, and when he plays forward, he almost plays as a defensive forward, but he has got great goal awareness about him. Good's there as well. McGlynn, I think, has had a sensational game. Using his pace, hasn't just exactly finished up the way he wants. A little bit of a touch on him there on the kick as well, but Jetta's the one who is yet to impact the scoreboard and actually use that bombing massive kick. Well, here we go, Jude Bolton again. Little snap forward. Once again, didn't have the sidestep or the pace to get away from the tackler.
Yeah, those Sydney forwards, small forwards, 18 out of their 20 goals last week were from smalls, and 2 weeks ago 15 out of 17. So very heavily reliant on their small forwards like Jude Bolton, who now is going forward and kicking lots of goals, isn't he?
He sure is. Yeah, he kicked 3 in the first quarter. He's played 300 odd games, been a superstar.
How many tackles has he had in 300 games?
A lot more than all of us put together, I reckon.
That bloke
and even Ed.
The on-screen Hanbury. I mentioned before, he's a bona fide A-grader. He is a star no matter where he plays on the ground.
He's a beauty. Just before we go, can you demonstrate the new Selwood technique to get a head-high tackle?
There is a new technique.
Don't mess up your hair on the way.
It's not.
Pull the chair back, show us.
You either.
Stand up, show us the new technique.
What he's done now, it used to be, I don't want to untap myself.
Who's going to cop it here, me or you?
So you go to tackle me. This is the old one. Put your arm around here. He does that, and he drops at the knees. Now he's going, just throwing his feet out, as if he's going to land on his bum on the ground. And he just drops without ducking. So he just drops straight down like this.
So rather than he's got the shrug and also the
Stevie J did it as well.
He's got the 2 foot.
Oh, yeah, 2 feet just come out, go splash sideways.
Like the cartoons.
It is. Cool. And Stevie J tried the same thing. I'm just wondering if they practiced it.
Oh, I think they've come up with a new technique. The cat is there. And it's working. They're getting plenty of the head.
Well, the umpires are giving it to him, so good luck to him.
All right. I think we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to go to the war room next. See if they can come up with something. Go, pass! We'll see if we can come up with something in the war room next. Stop pushing that button.